Call meeting to order. It is May 5th, Board of Education. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Here.
Amy Grantham? Here. Nancy Hopper? Here. Katie Jess? Here. John Brody? Mindy Smith? Here. Sarah Whitney? Here.
Next, we have Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Next, we have approval of minutes. Pledge of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Chris Brown? Aye. Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
Okay, next, approval of the agenda. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Chris Brown? Aye. Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
Okay, next we have opportunity for audience public comments. Holy cannolis.
I know. First time. I don't stand here as a member of FMEA. I stand here as a former teacher of that young lady right there. And I want to just, I've been bragging on our seniors because I taught half of them, but I wanted to recognize at least and wish you the best of luck and put on the record that you're one amazing student. I'm really proud of you and I look forward to all the stuff you've done. So you've done amazing things and I can't wait to see what comes next. That's all I have.
Awesome. Yay. Moving right along, we have reports.
So this is our seniors last week. We have our slideshow on Wednesday, our banquet Thursday, and then we tour the schools on Friday. This last week, tennis had regionals, but sadly nobody placed, but they fought hard. And then baseball has their last few games this week, and I'm very confident they'll do good.
Next, we have board reports. Anyone on the board? Superintendent report?
Okay, so in your packet tonight, you have a policy, it's policy GDKA, and it's staff workday. There's a portion on there that you wanted to change some verbiage on it. And so during the school year, our offices are open Tuesday through Friday. And the policy here says that we will be open on Monday through summer. So it sends kind of a confusing message. What I'd like to recommend that we do is we change it, simply don't put days on there, we just will be open 4 days during the summer. And there could be a situation where I kind of like the idea. We have some people who want to come in on Monday through Thursday, and the office is open Monday. We have some people who want to come in Tuesday through Friday, the office is open Friday. But it may turn out that I just say we're coming in Thursday through Friday to keep it the same as what we do. So that's why that's in there, and hopefully you'll consider. Also, the summer meal meals program is getting started again. Ashley and the food service program does an exceptional job with this. We have several places where you can go throughout the community to get free breakfast and lunch. You can go down to Columbine Elementary, Green Acres, Riverside Park, Glen Miller Park, The Block, Fort Morgan Middle School. Those places where you go and actually pick it up, they will give you the lunch plus the next morning's breakfast, and then the next day you come and get the lunch and the next morning breakfast. And that's for any student in our school district. There's one on site, and that's at Sherman, and they will have sit down, or they'll have breakfast there at 8 and lunch there. I'm excited to continue to offer that to our community. I think it's a need in our community, and just really looking forward to feeding the kids over the summer, and making sure they have good nutritious meals because they need it. I don't know how many of you saw out behind the high school. We were sitting in a meeting, I think my phone rang, and then Jason's phone rang, and then 8 other phones rang, and there was a pothole, I think, it was about that big. And discovered is it was a sinkhole out behind the ag shop, and luckily it was on the city side, so it had. When they came to fix it, I think somebody here knows how they did it. But when I looked, the hole that actually was left, we're lucky a car didn't get swallowed up in there, because the hole was probably the size of my office and probably about 15 feet deep. And has now been fixed, refilled, and it was turned around in about a week's time, which was great. So, yeah, it was kind of scary there for a minute, but
Do you know what caused it?
it was a broken sewer line.
was a sewer manhole.
Yeah, and it was all clogged up, so it was backing up, and it was, and water finds the path of least resistance, and the least resistance was taking out the dirt and washing it out, and that hole ended up being a lot larger than we thought it was gonna be, but fixed now. We do need to figure out the whole paving, but at least we can drive back there now. This week, as you all know, Teacher Appreciation, Staff Appreciation Week, you all have places to be and places to go this. I wanted to shout out to our staff that we have some amazing people here in Fort Morgan, really happy that they're here. I'm glad that I get to work with them. Teacher Appreciation Week is always a special time for our staff. People don't understand, we're listening to our alternative licensure people this morning, and so many of them said, you know, when I wasn't a teacher, I had no idea what it took. One of them even says, you know, well, my husband was a teacher, but I did it. It's not just a job, it's a way of life. And so thanks to all the teachers out there, all the staff out there. We appreciate everything you do. And the last thing I want to mention here, and I may have before, but I want to make sure we're getting closer. June, I think 6th and 7th is when the state board. We have a state board is going to come out here and have a meeting in our room. I think it's a Thursday and a Friday, isn't it? I do know that I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be on a cruise. My nephew is graduating, so I won't be able to be here. But it's a good opportunity for you to come and see the state board, and they'll be here. They came out and toured the facility and took a look at the place, and they told us that we were the nicest or the second nicest boardroom that they've ever been to, which we are pretty proud of that. So, what would be the date?
It's June 11th and 12th.
June 11th and 12th is when I'll be here. So, and they're all-day meetings, I believe.
Yes,
Yep.
2 days.
2 full days of them. So, anyway, any questions? Thank you.
All right, moving along, we have Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Assessment.
Good evening. I was just counting up the number of opt-outs we had for assessments. I'm tying those out. We actually had 30 this year, and I didn't have a chance to go back and check from last year, but that definitely is up. That's between CMAS and the PSAT, SAT tests, district-wide.
Individuals, or, I mean, some of those
Yep.
kids will take.
30 individuals, yep. So you have to code out every single test separately, so it's awesome. But we're getting there. Another thing, just to put on your radar, just for curriculum adoption, that's up for next year is English Language Arts, which is quite a large one. We're already starting to have some conversations. I'm starting to have conversations with principals and instructional coaches around instructional materials. So just so you know, that's happening. Keeping up to date on federal programs allocations. The feds still have not given state the allocations, which means in turn, we're not getting the allocations. It's going to be super late this year, later than it's normally been. And so, knowing that we depend on salaries and benefits in there, we're just supposed to actually just plan on a similar amount, but we'll see. So usually they give us allocations by about now, because we're starting to work on the consolidated application for Title 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Susanna Cordova has done a great, she sends an email out weekly, so happy to keep you up to date on that. And then a couple grant opportunities that came from CDE that kind of were last minutes on us applying for, because I think it's important if there's grant money, and even though I think a lot of districts are applying right now for grant funding just because of budgeting, but submitted a comprehensive literacy state development grant, and it was actually, we were able to actually calculate how much money we could apply for. So you could apply for different grade level bands. So one was like K-12, one was pre-K, and then one was K to 5, and then another was 6 to 12. So just out the gate, we could apply for $140,000 for year 1 for K-5 and $140,000 for 6-12. And so I just put it all in. I'm like gonna ask for $280,000. It's actually really nice timing, I think, because we'll be doing curriculum adoption, and we've asked for 4 years. So again, I think highly competitive. I ran into some people in Estes Park when we were up there last week, and quite a few districts, oh yeah, we applied for that pocket money too, so we'll see. And then Jen, with the alt program and induction, applied for the quality teacher recruitment program grant, and we actually just wrote in for basically mentor stipends and mentor development, and stipends, I think, for instructional coaches. And so it's just an ask. We're already going to spend the money anyway on my mentor stipends, and so might as well utilize some grant money. And then just today, I actually went and met with Leprino. Leprino approached us. It's their 75th anniversary. They want to give us money. And so I met with Connor Kokash, former Fort Warren grad, and I'm super excited about, he just sent me the link. It's just this little application for giving some funds over the next 3 years. More than likely, it's an easy ask for literacy. So there's like 4 pillars that Leprino has where you can ask for funding. And so nutrition, I felt like we're pretty covered, wellness things, but education, they're really wanting to be more involved in the community, which is awesome. And then finally, tonight, or is it an action item? Yeah, sorry. Renewal application for Lincoln High School as an alternative education campus. We have to do that annually, and so you'll see that on action items tonight. Vicki does always a nice job of putting that together. And then one item I didn't have on my report is we got word from Capturing Kids' Hearts about a week and a half ago that both Lincoln High School and Baker Elementary have been chosen to be Capturing Kids' Hearts National Showcase Schools. And the process is that comes from our leadership coach, Mark Hatchell. He actually submits a nomination form to Capturing Kids' Hearts, and so both Vicki and Daniel got a pretty cool box of swag materials to share with their staff, really highlighting that they really have embraced the Capturing Kids' Hearts process. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Assistance.
Assistant Superintendent of HR.
Good evening. We have the personal action report for your action tonight. You'll see there's some movement there. It seems like we make a little progress on hiring, and then we get a surprise retirement or resignation, but kind of held steady here. For the most part, active postings, we have 2 administrative district level postings, 9 classified coaching, and then our standard other ones are constantly posted. Negotiations update is going well. We have been ratified and accepted our proposal of steps increases in insurances as we've done in the past. I believe ASAP and ACP will also ratify this week as well. And so we will have those memos for signing and to present at our next board meeting. The other thing I have that's not on my on Saturday, he was recognized as the Colorado State 2025 Administrator of the Year. So that's really awesome from where we were about a year ago. So it's great. That's all for me tonight.
Chief Financial Officer, Tony?
Good evening.
items for you. You received a copy of the resolution to appropriate some of the beginning fund balance for the building fund. I wanted to clear a couple things up on that. Last meeting, I mentioned to you that we're moving all the HVAC costs and revenue over to the building fund and out of general fund, which is how this has resulted. Just to be clear though, none of those funds in that appropriation are part of the Legion Field bond. That money is locked down on Legion Field, we're not spending any of it. This is money that has accumulated over the years from projects that were done and just weren't all spent out. So just wanna make sure everybody understands we're not spending Legion Field money on this. The appropriation would, use an additional $645,693 from the beginning fund balance. And so that'll be in your action items tonight. You also received, the third quarter, wow, here we are, financial statements. Just a couple items. I wanted to point out that over on the right, there's this little column called footnotes and there's numbers, clear over to the right. I actually utilized this time and wrote a few notes if you want to look ahead of time and see what we were doing here. The first one on the general fund, the local revenue, of course, is not where it should be, it's not where it's allocated to be because of the timing of property taxes. I got an email this week and we got a huge chunk of money from the April property taxes, so that'll be evening out very soon. Looking at the total expenditures, we seem to be right on track with the budget. Year to date is at 69%, which is a good place to be. I think we'll come in real well there. And then the number 3 down there with the 0, that our transfer allocations haven't been made to the funds yet. We usually do that in May, so that'll all catch up the next time we do financials. Then looking at mill levy, kind of the same 2 comments. Their revenue's not where it's appropriated to be because of the timing of the property taxes. That'll turn around in time. And also they were at 74% for budgeted items, which is pretty healthy. A lot of those are done earlier in the year than later because it's, repairs around the district and regular contracts that maintenance has to pay for. Let's see, cap reserve, I was just gonna point out the comment number 1, most of the projects that were set to be done with cap reserve were completed. They're at 87% of the budget, and I think they've got almost everything finished. Once again, that allocation has not been made yet, but we'll get that done in the next couple of weeks. Insurance fund, just pointing out the number 2 comment that we were right on budget for the premiums for the insurance. That's kind of a given. They tell me what it's going to be and we pay it, so it's not like there's any big surprise in that one. Let's see. Looking at preschool, once again, they are at 75% for the year for expenditures, which, this represents 3/4 of the school year, so that's right on track there. Food service, just pointing out that the revenues are in line with what we were expecting budget-wise, and the same thing with their expenditures. They're at 82% for expenditures, but their expenses will go down significantly in June. So, and I think that's pretty much all I have. Much all the comments I had on these. Of course, if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Move on to discussion items. We have the first reading, district policy revision policy GDKA, length of support staff workday. This is the policy that. Pleasure of the board? No, it's just discussion. Any discussion? Moving on to the consent agenda. Pleasure of the board. To approve. Okay, roll call please.
Chris Brown? Aye. Amy Grantham? Aye. Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess? Aye. Mindy Smith? Aye. Sarah Whitney? Aye.
Action items, A, the addendum to the superintendent's contract. Second. Roll call please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess,
Aye.
Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
Next, approve the 24-25 supplemental budget. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess,
Aye.
Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
Next, we have graduating students of the class of 25 for Lincoln High School. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
D, graduating students for the class of 2025 for Fort Morgan High School. Pleasure of the board. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
Next, we have the application renewal for Lincoln High School Alternative Education Campus Designation. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
Next, Fort Morgan High School Leadership in Action, CHASA Leadership Conference, June 3rd through the 6th, 25. It will be taking place at the Colorado Mesa University in Grand Junction, Colorado. Pleasure, board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Sarah Whitney.
Next, donation from Allo Communications. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Mindy Smith, Sarah Whitney.
Last but not least, on action items, we have donation from the Optimus Club of Fort Morgan to the Fort Morgan Middle School. Second. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown,
Aye.
Amy Grantham,
Aye.
Nancy Hopper,
Aye.
Katie Jess, Mindy Smith,
7 newsletters. We have newsletters at your pleasure to read.
And moving on
To advanced planning. Okay, the next board meeting of education will be May 19th. The National Teacher Appreciation Week is May 5th through the 9th this week. So last day of school for our Fort Morgan High School seniors is Wednesday, May 7th. Fort Morgan High School senior banquet is Thursday, May 8th. The Lincoln High School graduation ceremony is Friday, May 9th. The Fort Morgan High School baccalaureate is Friday, May 16th. The Fort Morgan High School graduation parade is Saturday, May 17th. Fort Morgan High School graduation ceremony is Sunday, May 18th. The Fort Morgan Middle School continuation ceremony is May 29th. The last day of school will be Thursday, May 29th. And the end of school, your picnic and making. There's no further business to come before the board. We are adjourned at 7:24.